If I had a magic wand, I'll just take from the surplus and give to the deficit. I think a good part of what you see today is just the lack of formality, right? A lot of people already give. I mean, it's very clear people know how to give. And then the question is, okay, people want to see the impact of their giving or some level of accountability. So that's what we need to sort of bring together, right? And then more people will be more interested in giving. So if you already give for religious activities, okay, that's fine, that's a duty, that's your religious duty. Then you already give to your family, this impulse giving, people come at you. Then you have to ask yourself, okay, is there a particular cause I think that I want to be a part of? Many people come across that maybe through pain, right? Or just a nudge in their heart to be a part of something, which I think is where a lot of people need to go into now and just build on the back of that. Once you do once you do a lot of religious giving, you already help family. I think the next step is to do something strategic and leave a legacy behind.
Hello, and welcome to yet another exciting edition of the APF podcast series. With me today, I have Eyitope Owolabi, the founder of Helping Out Initiative. Welcome, Eyitope.
Thank you, Mosu. Thanks for having me.
It's really lovely to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, same here. Thanks for having me. I think it's been a while trying to get me on this, so I'm happy to be here.
Right, and we met about 7 years ago.
Yes.
And at the time we met, you had just started the initiative. What was happening in your life at that time? Was there a particular incident? Was it an experience? What was it that got you to the point where you felt, oh, I need to start this initiative?
Okay, thanks for that. Interestingly, I think I started it 2 years prior, 2017, and I think I can give a backdrop of why. So I think during that season of my life, I just became a new dad, newlywed. I was on a spiritual journey, so I was sort of like building the foundation of the phase I'm in my life and see where I want to be. And on the other side of it, I think there was this big devaluation that happened the year before. I think Naira moved from 199 to 360. And you see that in the economic effect, there was a lot of poverty showing. The aftermath of that was a lot of poverty, purchasing power of people being destroyed, right? So I would just say that during that, my own journey as a person and just the backdrop of what was happening around the economy and seeing the need from people sort of skyrockets, it sort of moved me into that space. And it wasn't necessarily because I wasn't doing anything prior, but at that time, I just thought it was important to move from a bit of impulse giving to have something more intentional. And I think the next step for me was to sort of see how I could put a bit of structure around that. And coming up with an initiative was sort of the best way to do it. You know, naming something, giving life to it, and then sort of having goals, targets, and then being very, very strategic in terms of deploying resources and just having a focus, basically. I think maybe without the focus, it's really hard to really, be impactful or have influence. So I think that's the overview. And maybe just to put it as well is, I think during that period as well, I just came to the realization that, giving in itself was a skill. And like every other skill, it needs to be developed, it needs to be worked on to improve on it. So it's sort of that context as well.
You've done quite a lot in the past, now 9 years since you started Helping Out Initiative. And you've been working with a lot of early stage nonprofit organizations that typically would lack access to funding. They won't be able to access resources, but they are doing great work. What have you learned by interacting with these nonprofits? And what do you think other philanthropists or donors or givers such as yourself need to understand about these NGOs?
Okay, that's a good question, and I think it sort of maybe segues back to we as Nigerians, right? So I was reading the giving report that APF normally shares, and it was very clear that like Nigeria came out the most generous country, right? And then there's a gap between the perception of generosity and the generosity in itself, right? So if you have that context, just makes you understand that, see, a lot of people want to help, a lot of people understand that they have to help, but they're just not formal about it, right? So when I started doing what I was doing, I just realized that people just didn't have structure. People didn't have that formality to sort of tell their story in a way that get desired support. So I just thought, okay, me knowing the needs, let me help in that early stage so that people don't get discouraged along that journey. And I guess being a part of that, also guiding, providing that support, as you build up on that, then you sort of open up yourself for funders or more bigger organizations.
Yeah. So you started speaking to the fact that, it's not that we don't give, it's an issue of structure, right? And you're a finance expert. And you chose in your decision to start this not to be an operating foundation, but to be one that actually gives to others, to other foundations to actualize their vision or their goals and their objectives. So how has being that finance expert that is rooted in certain ways of doing things, risk assessment, all those technical things, how has it shaped the way you do the work that you do at Helping Out Initiative?
And another great question, right? And I think it started off that way in the sense that the background of finance and having the science around giving, right? So that helped informing the company instead of setting up the structure, how to give, what to give, and where to give. But gradually, I think that that sort of limits the impact in the sense that when it boils down to it, there's this saying that everything that counts doesn't count, like the popular saying, and you have to bring that balance in terms of not just measuring numbers, but how the intrinsic value of what you do helps, the joy in people, and how they engage. So it's that balance. So at first, yes, my background helped me to set up. It was important to be able to know how to give, what to give, have a little bit of measurable maybe impact of figures in terms of growth of numbers, in terms of reach. But fundamentally, I think what has worked for me was just to sort of dig in and just be sure that one is working in alignment with what you're set out to do, tell the purpose of the institution itself.
Right. So you might not consider yourself like a traditional big name philanthropist, but you're a philanthropist. You're a philanthropist.
I don't like the title.
We have an article, one of our newsletters in the earlier years at APF, where we are all philanthropists. And we say that because you mentioned from the Giving Report, from the World Giving Report, we are generous people. Right, but so some people don't see themselves as philanthropists because they are not a Dangote or they are not a Bill Gates, and so they don't want that name. So even let's put the name aside.
Okay.
Since you started doing this and engaging in these spaces, what has surprised you about funding work? What didn't you expect that you have seen that has completely surprised you, good or bad?
What didn't I expect? I think the biggest one I just say is that your time is as valuable as your money, right? So
that's a very strong point.
A lot of people just want to put money, but you realize that most people people need guidance. People need you to be present. So you realize that they want more of your time than of your resources. And I think that's one thing that really stood out for me, because when you think you're just going to give and you move on, and they're like, no, we want you to come and see, we want you to experience the people, we want you to be a part of it and have memories for yourself. And I think that's what makes the difference for me, because when you go back, when you reflect, right, you're not reflecting on the figures, you're reflecting on the lives, you're reflecting on how the people felt, seeing some of the things you've done and how their lives are changing. So I think that is the biggest thing for me, and that's part of why I mentioned in the past about measuring and all of that, because I just come to realize that it's the value in the way people feel that is more important in terms of the number of places you reach or people you reach, because you can go all over the place, but the joy in the hearts of one or two people sort of trumps that.
Yeah. That's a very strong point when it comes to time, because a lot of times when we're talking about philanthropy and talking about giving, we're talking about funds, as opposed to, or it should be in addition to, it's not, they don't exist in parallels. And the joy, as you said, that comes with, and it's on both sides, you know, those who are giving and those who are receiving. Those who are giving are actually seeing the impact of their work, and they are motivated to do more, or even to understand the communities better and work closer to them. And those who are receiving feel seen, you know, not, they see themselves as not just receivers or beneficiaries, because these people see them as people who count.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, and that's very important for us in Africa and, and in our culture. And philanthropy is evolving, and more people are coming into wealth. We know that the number of wealthy Africans are increasing, and we have more people getting into structured philanthropy, and some of these people are in finance.
Just to cut you there, when you said more people are getting into wealth, I think one thing you also realize is that I don't think people need to be wealthy to do this, right? So I'll take you back to the World Giving Report that you mentioned, right? And you look at how Nigerians give, right? It's divided into three, like the religious giving, the charity, and then the alms, right? And a lot of people already do that out of moral duty or religious duty, so it's already ingrained.
Absolutely.
I think what people are just focused on is just the strategic giving part, which I believe that's
what APF. That's what we were said of, and that's what we always say when we're in spaces, especially non-African spaces, you know, to say that philanthropy is not new to us in Africa. We may not be strategic in the way we do philanthropy, but it is actually ingrained and it is our culture. And so as we talk about strategic philanthropy, how can those with certain skills or expertise, and in your case, I would use finance, how can they be supportive of the work that is being done in a way that it is sustainable and impactful?
Yeah, so I think when we look at people in finance or finance background trying to help, I think it's all about the framework in terms of giving, right? Simple metrics around how much you want to give, how much you want it to grow on an annual basis, what cause has the most impact, and that's by doing some research in the country and checking where there's a shortfall of funding in particular sectors. I think those basic critical thinking skills are what, from a finance background, you need to be able to push to NGOs and charities. And I think that's part of really what of benefit of being part of APF, right? So at the time as well, we wanted to connect with like minds. You wanted to access resources to sort of improve what you do, sort of to be sure that you're on the right path and you're not saying things differently. And then a couple of times when I engage or when I come across certain materials or even listening to certain events or when I'm joining one of the sessions, right? Some things resonate and you just know that, oh yeah, I'm not alone in this, you know, and those little things sort of help in ensuring that, you know, when you go back and try to do things, you don't feel demotivated, or, you know, people are supportive, or people are also going through the similar things we are going through. So
if you had a magic wand, what would you do?
Magic wand. What would I do? I think if I had a magic wand, I'll just take from the surplus and give to the deficit. Well, even though that's not realistic, but I think a good part of what you see today is just the lack of formality, right? A lot of people already give. I mean, it's very clear people know how to give. And then the question is, okay, people want to see the impact of their giving or some level of accountability. So that's what we need to sort of bring together, right? And then more people will be more interested in giving. So it's sort of tilting the scale a bit. So if you already give for religious activities, okay, that's fine, that's a duty, that's your religious duty. Then you already give to your family, this impulse giving, people come at you. Then you have to ask yourself, okay, is there a particular cause I think that I want to be a part of? Many people come across that maybe through pain, right? Or just a nudge in their heart to be a part of something, which I think is where a lot of people need to go into now and just build on the back of that. Once you do once you do a lot of religious giving, you already help family. I think the next step is to do something strategic and leave a legacy behind.
Right. Do you find yourself sometimes in situations where people within your circle or people maybe outside your circle, but they know you feel you don't have to be structured, you don't have to do maybe you are doing a bit too much?
Yeah.
Do you
get that feeling?
Do you get that feeling?
I think I also get that feeling myself. Yeah. Sometimes I ask myself, why am I putting structure around this, right? And I think the best way I can answer it for myself is when I'm putting together my vision board, right? You need to be able to have something that you're aspiring to. So if it's to say, you know what, I want to change 1,000 lives, you can't just be opening that at random. You're going to change 1,000 lives, right? You need to put pen to paper and work around it, or at least when you are reflecting, you know that you have this goal and you wake up every day towards that goal. So that's really one of the things that drives. But I think people around me, I think that's where people struggle with. People feel like it's more like imposter syndrome. How can I say I'm doing this when I'm barely doing this? But I think you can do everything. Right. You can do all the three at the same time. You don't really have to have conquered giving to family first before trying to support causes.
Yeah, right. So final question before I go to an exciting part of this podcast. In 10 years, if you look, this is 2026.
Yeah.
So in 2036, what would you like to have done? What would you like to see that has happened as a result of the work that you're doing?
So I think 10 years time, I would like to see lives transformed, like people that sort of have benefited from the work that we've done over the years, coming back to sort of, talk about how we've sort of made that difference. Not necessarily to acknowledge, but to just know that it wasn't in vain, right? And working with different number of charity organizations, is just to also help them achieve their own goals. Even fundamentally for me, once the NGO or the charity achieves its goal, I'm satisfied. I don't actually need to be at the end of it, but I think that's it for me. 10 years from now is to fulfill the vision I set up for the company, which is just to be rich in good deeds. Just fundamentally uncountable amount of lives being changed and just being out there helping as many people as possible.
Thank you so much, Eyitope.
You're welcome.
So my favorite part, so that we get to know you more, and our viewers also get to know you more, or our listeners get to know you more. Are you ready?
Fire away.
Early bird or night owl?
I'm an early bird.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee all the way.
Deep focus or multitasking?
Multitasking.
To-do list or calendar blocking?
Calendar blocking.
Silence or background music while you work?
Background music for sure.
For sure. And what do you listen to?
So it depends on my mood, but most times I like to just have something playing. I might not be listening to the lyrics or whatever, but just something playing, a rhythm that allows me to also flow. Yeah.
Right. Books or podcasts?
Books. So sorry, but books.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I know this is a podcast, but I'm also reading a book. So absolutely. Morning workouts or evening workouts, or neither?
Morning. I said I'm an early bird, so I prefer morning work.
Okay. Impact or influence?
It has to be influence. Influence is subtle. It's gradual. You don't know when it's taking over. I think I prefer influence.
All right. Thank you so much, Eyitope. It's been lovely having you.
Thank you for having me, Mosun.